I had a whole new understanding about auras, about our vibe, and how to better find our alignment. So today we're talking about type, strategy, signature, and not self.
Welcome to Functional Human Design and our living room. I'm Reed.
And I'm Jess.
Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Reed, for being on the camera back there, because it really does help having someone to talk to. And that is exactly what we're talking about today, is how our auras function. I know I've talked about it before, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit different today, because generally when we're talking about our aura, our vibe, really it's the same thing. It's how people perceive you. In human design, you have a type, and there's the four major types: the manifestors, the generators and the manifesting generators, the projectors and the reflectors. So we have the four major aura types. Each of the type has a strategy. They also have a signature and a not self theme. So the signature is goals. That's what we want. The not self theme is like the shadows. And there is both like a repressive and a reactive shadow to each. So it's not just one not self theme. It's really kind of two themes, because I know in my experience and the people around me that it's like you can go one way or the other. And that's really common. Like, we're just human. So all of these things, type, strategy, signature, and not self-theme, are referring to your aura and how to work with your aura, how to make it function in a way that works for you. So when you're hearing follow your strategy and authority, we're talking about your strategy and how to interact with other people in the world. The thing is that there are some really crazy beliefs in this world. One of them is the biggest misconceptions of all, and it's that we are individuals. And we are individuals. Like, I am my own person, my own being with my own blueprint. However, I am a part of a consciousness that is you, that is me, that is him, that is all of my children, all of your children, and everybody else on this planet. We are a part of a consciousness, and none of our auras are designed to work independently and alone. I need to say that again. None of us are designed to work independently and alone and at the speed of capitalism. We are not designed to work the way the world has told us that we work, and those beliefs are so deep-rooted in us that we believe it to be true, and that we believe we can easily have success by ourselves. Now, of course, there's lots of people who have been able to achieve financial success by themselves, but then are they happy? Are their relationships flourishing? Are their lives everything that they dreamed of? Money helps, absolutely. I'd much rather have a mental breakdown in a freaking Ferrari than I would a Ford Fiesta, but it's not everything. Money's not everything. Relationships aren't everything. Health isn't everything. We as humans are worthy of having all of it. It may not be at the massive grand scale, because our resources really are limited. There's more than enough for everyone. Our resources are in great supply, and yet they are not unlimited. We do only have a finite amount. And so how they're distributed is important. And our auras were designed to work together, to be teams, to create pockets of people, of community that help flourish. Because when we're looking at human design, our money, our worthiness, our actual third dimensional reality is created by our heart center. It's what we feel we are worthy of. And don't you know, all four of the gates, the entire heart is about tribe. Now, in human design, I know we have the individual, the tribe, and the community, and those words don't necessarily make sense. So let's just explain what they mean. The individual is, yes, me as a person. So our individual circuitry and our integration circuitry, those are all about self. Tribe is about the people around us, the people that we actually have influence over. Money is about tribe. It's about working together. Resources, if you're struggling with the resources, it's because we don't have the tribes anymore. We're so worried about the individual that we forgot our communities. Competition comes in and it's like, oh, if I let you promote your thing, then my thing's not going to be worthy. And that's not even true. These are all misconceptions. So then tribe, then we have this word community, and we think community and human design, we're thinking, oh yeah, that's my community. No, community in human design means world. It's the whole big wide world. It's everybody. So in human design, individual is self. Tribe is the people you're around, truly your community, your family, the people who hire you, the people in your community. For us, it's the people in our school community. It's a free school community called Functional Human Design. Join us. That is our tribe. But the community is a whole wide world. And so many times we get confused about who we're supposed to be concerned about. Or are we concerned about the views of the whole wide world? No, if we do that, we end up being nothing because we're people pleasers and we're worried and we're scared. There's so much fear and we're not safe. But if we don't concern ourselves with some of the impulses, like the understanding of what's going on with your tribe, then you're not ever going to be able to be successful because you have to listen to your people and serve them. You have to show up for them. You have to be a part of them. That is our tribe, and that is where money flow happens. That is where resources happen because money is just the current thing that we're using. We could be using t-shirts or couches or light bulbs, fire. We could be using lots of things as a resource that we trade. We've been trading forever. Money is just the current thing that we have. And it all comes from tribe, not from the individual. Our worthiness is how we give and share and serve. We give and receive from our tribe. It's for all of us, whether it's defined or undefined, because if it's undefined, it's just a choice. So we have our auras, we have our type, and we have the 4 basic types. And I want to run through each of the 4 because how we're seeing it in society right now is really designed only for the individual. Because that is what capitalism, that is what the patriarchy, that's what misogyny, that's what all of the isms that are icky in our world, that where things aren't functioning, it comes from this idea that we are individual and we have to look out only for ourselves. And then we have the other extreme where we're only looking out for the entire world. And really we need to come back into balance where we're concerned about our tribe, the people around us. We're concerned about the resources of the people because sometimes we need to be protected, not just from the world, but we need to be protected from ourselves. So manifestors, we're going to start there. Everybody loves manifestors. Everybody thinks they want to be a manifester, but nobody really understands the plight and the pain of a manifester. Manifestors have a bubble, and they're in their own little world. They have their bubble, and it's a safe bubble. They don't have the same problems generators have, but they're in a bubble. And the effect of being in a bubble means that they feel invisible. They feel like their voice doesn't matter. They feel unimportant. And that causes a manifestor to go deep into themselves. And sometimes they get angry and it's outward. And sometimes they go deep inside and it's repressive and it's all bitterness. It's not like only projectors have bitterness. But they go inside to this guilt, this shame, this blame, and they just bubble up. And they feel safe in their bubble, but they're never seen. No one can even acknowledge them, and they walk around, they're in these big bubble suits, and they just hit into people. But their signature is peace. Then when they find peace and they're in their bubble, they're lonely. It's because they're not designed to be the only person in the bubble. They're supposed to be other people. Generators. Generators are split about even. between manifesting generators and generators. The difference is manifestors, let's start there. Manifestors have any of these three motors, the root, solar plexus, or heart, connected to the throat. They do not have a sacral defined. That's what makes them a manifestor. There's no sacral, and one of the three motors is somehow connected to the throat. What makes a generator type and our aura is having the sacral defined. So whether you're a manifesting generator or a generator, your aura works the same. It functions the same. We are like giant magnets. We pull everything under the sun to us. And because we are the doers, we have this life force energy. It creates two really crazy things. Generators have the sacral, but none of their motors connect to the throat. They function like a tornado, sucking everything into them, going round and round and round and round and round and round and round. Everything sucks in. Manifesting generators, they're louder because they have any motor connected to the throat. And that connection to the throat means that we move faster. I'm a manifesting generator. We move faster. We talk faster. We go fast. If you have a motor to the throat, your number one thing is to slow down. To slow down, because we are missing things. We are missing a lot of things because we are the speed that everyone's trying to keep up with, and it's putting everybody out of alignment. So if you have a motor to the throat, manifestor or manifesting generator, please learn to slow down. You see me like this now. I'm not like this all the time. Like this is me doing what I do. Slowing down is the hardest thing I've ever done and the most important thing I've ever done, because we are hurricanes. We go wide and big and we pull everything in. Just as damaging, but it's a different type. It's widespread. Where generators are very powerful and going, sucks everything into us. We're magnets. Now, projectors are like sponges. That's a sponge. Trust me, it's a sponge. They're like sponges. They suck everything in. They absorb. They don't attract in the same way that a generator does, but they absorb everything around them. And they can't help it. They can't stop it. It all just soaks right in. And in that process of not having a sacral defined, so what makes a projector is no sacral definition and no motor connected to the throat. Now, the throat can be defined and they can have motors, but they're not connected. And what this does is it makes them slower. It makes them observe more. It makes them see bigger pictures. And while they're doing that, they're absorbing everything. And they have profound wisdom or words that really cut deep. Both. So they shoot like arrows out. They're like a sponge with spikes, more like. They're spiky because they have really deep wisdom. But in their shadow, which is bitterness, they're not self-theme, those spikes get really icky. And so they have to protect themselves. They have to protect themselves from the energy and the people they're around. Generators, we have some of the highest rates of abuse because we suck everything into us. And that's a lot of ugly. And so we have this magnetic field that brings everything in, all the ugly, projectors who are absorbing all of the ugly, and manifestors that are just bubbling up saying this world is dangerous. And then we have reflectors. Reflectors are almost invisible. The world has trampled over them so much that they have to mimic or act like one of the others to even be seen. Because they are a mirror, they reflect. They don't absorb. They don't magnetic pull people in. They're just a mirror. And a mirror is really awesome. They're very important. But we're not designed to work like independent beings. And that's what the world has told us, is that we're all independent because these four do not have protection. Generators, manifesting generators, projectors, reflectors, they do not have protection. And manifestors have tons of protection. But they don't have the energy to be able to create and do what we do. And none of us have the wisdom that the projectors have from absorbing everything around them. And reflectors are the keeper of the seasons. They are our timekeepers. They understand the flow and direction of the universe because they're reflecting everything and having to wait. Because they don't have anything defined. They just have a bunch of hanging gates. So if this is how our world is looking right now, where we're all working independently, everyone except the manifestors, just exposed and vulnerable, pulling everything in and going, I don't know how to keep myself safe. This world is not a safe place. Projectors getting bitter and angry and shooting darts, going outward and shooting darts, or going inward and just seething. Generators doing and getting hurt, doing and getting hurt, doing and getting hurt, bitter and bitter and bitter. Bitterness is really like the culmination of three things. And it's the underlying expression to all of our not self. So for the manifestors, the not self is anger, which means bitterness is expressed in anger. It can be passive, it can be aggressive. But bitterness is just guilt, shame, and blame all wrapped into one really fucked up package. So guilt says, I fucked up. I can also change it. I take responsibility. Guilt is healthy. Shame says, I am a fuck up. There's an identification with it. I am a problem. I am it. Blame says, you fucked up. You're the problem. And it can be you, a person. It can be you, your parents. It can be you, society. It can be you, capitalism. It could be you, the patriarchy. Whatever we're blaming is just an indication that of course there's been pain. I'm not trying to say that your pain is invalid. I'm just saying it exists. And do you want to let that control your life? So for generators, both of us, bitterness manifests as frustration. We're frustrated with technology. We're frustrated with this person. We're frustrated with society. I'm frustrated with having to go to work all the time. We're frustrated. For the projector, bitterness shows up with much less of a mask. They're just openly bitter. It comes out through their arrows and spikes. For the reflector, it comes out as disappointment, as sadness. I want to pose for you another idea. What if all of our auras were to actually work together in a way that created our signature or our highest self for everyone? Now follow me for a second. What if the aura of a manifestor was huge? This is land. This is a manifestor aura. What if they were able to protect the tribe? What if manifestors were the establishment of peace? Their signature is peace. What if all of that power to the throat was about establishing peace? Because they have a bubble. The safest place in the world you can be is inside of a manifestor bubble. I know because I'm a manifesting generator that was married to one, who has been partnered with one for 22 years. The safest place I can be is in his bubble. And I'm like, why can't we put more people in your bubble? Why can't your bubble be bigger? Why can't you expand your bubble to include our tribe? And that's really what brought this out, was what if the manifestor bubble was huge And it just said, I am establishing peace. Because they know peace in themselves and they know how to utilize their bubble in order to help other people find peace. Well, I know for me as a manifesting generator, I would feel and do feel, that's why I'm able to do this, like I'm able to create. And then I have the satisfaction of creation, because that is what a generator does. I am satisfied when I am able to work and do and create with the things that I love. And so what if under his protection, instead of being chaos, I am able to build structure? I don't know what I'm drawing right here. What if generators, under the protection, the signature of peace of manifestors, we were able to create freely without being concerned? Without being concerned about what happens when this person, what happens when this thing. Because in community, we are tribe, we work together. So we have the generators and manifesting generators we're able to do. And what happens when we all slow down and actually listen to the wisdom of projectors? I have failed at this a million times. It's my greatest desire, is to learn, continually learn how to slow down and listen to the wisdom of projectors. But it's hard, because it's hard to find projectors that aren't bitter, because they too have not been protected. Because if projectors were treated with dignity and respect and honored for the wisdom that they carry and the speed in which they work, they would be a lot more Buddha-like. They would be running our yoga retreats. They would be doing the guiding and the wisdom that leads the entire system. So they would be comfortable sponges, not having to be pokey and putting out darts, but being able to give that perfect word. The one thing that you really needed to hear to be able to see the shadow that you're facing, to be able to see your darkness and transmute it into light, to be able to alchemize your pain. Projectors carry that wisdom. They say, oh, you don't have to do all that. Just do this one thing and you'll find success, because projectors' signature is success. And reflectors, when they're able to be a mirror of the seasons, a mirror of the ebb and flow of the planet, they're able to show us who we are, and we are able to be better within this system. If manifestors were the establishment of peace, and generators, the creators of satisfaction, and the projectors, the knowing of success, and reflectors, the keepers of awe and wonder. We are beautiful when we all work together. Individually, we look like tornadoes and hurricanes and bubbles and spikes. But what if we saw the entire system, our tribe, our resources differently? What if we knew that resources were in limited supply, but there's more than enough for all of us? We just have to work together. And I'm not speaking of some out there utopia. I think this can be done very easily in small groups, in pockets of people. In fact, I think it would be safer for us that way, rather than having one big utopian city. It's hard to work with 100,000 people. It's a lot easier to work with 10 or 20 or 5,000, 10,000. You can create tribe in a different way. It doesn't have to be a grandiose to be able to go on vacation quarterly. You don't have to make millions upon millions of dollars to have a life that you love. Especially when you have community and you're together and you're connected. As Reed and I were talking about this, there were a couple metaphors that came out that really helped both of us understand this more and understand what it felt like or looks like in the world. So if manifestors were the ozone layer this bubble that is protecting the entire planet, this safety place for all of us. The manifesting generators would be like the wind across the land, moving and rearranging and reshaping the entire landscape. And the generators would be like the water, the force that moves throughout the planet. The projectors would be like the earth, the solid ground under our feet, the foundation from which we stand. And the reflectors would be the seasons. It just made so much sense to me to see how nature actually mimics us. We mimic nature. The greatest inventions are inventions of robots, of airplanes, of vehicles that mimic nature, that mimic animals, because that is what we are. That is who we are. And when we can see us in a different light, we can see our roles differently. It made us really think. It made us re-envision the world in a completely different way, and what we could do and how we could do it differently. So thank you all for joining us. And I'd love for you to join our school community if you're not already there. And if you are there, thank you. I love you. And I'm grateful that you are a part of our tribe, because we are all a reflection of each other. And I've just been so blessed. I can't even comprehend what has happened over the last 30 days. It's so beyond me, beyond us. And it's truly magical. And I am so completely grateful. So thank you for being on this journey with us. And I love you lots. We'll see you in the community. Bye.